Alright, what's up guys? We're back for war number 1 of season 31, the introduction of bans. We're up against Legion. These guys were in Masters last season. But yeah, so there are bans. No Torch, no Ghost, no Spider-Man 2099, and of course we look at the boss and it's a Mojo boss. So these guys, their strategy for bans, which I think is the correct strategy, is to target tough fights. You guys see that Mon section on path 7 there. We ended up quaking that after the boss was taken down. Otherwise, good place for him. But yeah, so I'm taking all these fights that I'm clicking on here. Just the one fight in section 1, and then a few in section 3, and then I've got that mcoc. So I'm going to bring in Shang-Chi for my section 1 fights. He and Mole Man are probably the 2 best options for that path. I am bringing in Apocalypse, who does benefit from power down. He's definitely the best attacker that benefits from power down. Some others that are pretty good are Professor X, like She-Hulk benefits. So he's just going to take a few fights, or maybe, no, he's just taking 1 fight. And then I have Magic taking 3 fights, just because she's kind of just shuts down all 3 fights and is the safest option in my opinion, even though she's, of course, just a 5-star, lower health pool, stuff like that. So, all right, so this node, it automatically applies a heal block debuff and at the beginning, and then it also has insult to injury, which reduces ability accuracy, offensive ability accuracy, or defensive ability accuracy by 15% per debuff, which just means that from the start you have a 15% chance for your first parry to fail. And then I think you get stacking weaknesses as well, or fatigue or something like that. A non-damaging debuff that just reduces your ability accuracy because of insult to injury. So Shang-Chi, of course, really great for that, can easily purify. So I'm going to go into this fight, and I am taking all 5 of my fights here at once, which is very nice. I only have to boost once. But we're going in Shang-Chi here. And at the beginning of the fight, all I need to do is get my N, and then land a medium, light, medium to get 4 cleanses that'll purify the debuffs. So I am going to try to parry here at the beginning, but I know that there's a 15% chance for it to fail. It doesn't, of course, so I'm able to get off that cleanse. I use one of them for the heal block that was on me. So I've got 3 cleanse left. And that's kind of what we want to do in this fight. We just want to reset, and then we're just going to go with the cleansing strike to start there. Now, I am going to throw an SP2 here, I think, hoping that I can kill him before he got to that 15th gamma. Of course, I could not, and at the end of this immortality phase, he'll regen, and he's invulnerable during that regen phase, so I've seen a lot of people die trying to attack into him there. He just goes unstoppable, unblockable. I don't think he's unblockable there, but he's unstoppable, so if you try to hit into him, he'll just ignore you and hit into you. But anyway, very easy fight. Just the lane in general, I don't think there's really any defender probably that Shang-Chi couldn't take there. Maybe Bishop, I don't know. But all right, so here we have, what is it? Buff and balance weakness, so every buff that the defender has, that places a weakness on the attacker, and the only way to get rid of those weaknesses, to reset them, is to throw a special. So you see a lot of power gainers and a lot of buffers on this path, almost always. This path also does have Divine Barrier, just pretty much to try to dissuade people from using Dr. Doom. But even with Dr. Doom, it's very easy to manage. Dr. Doom just is not a great option for that Super Skrull. That Super Skrull just gets too many buffs. It's better just to power lock him. And so we found that Magic is the best. Claire also works, but I like Magic for the mcoc fight. And I think that she's just a little bit easier, less to think about with the fights that she's in. So the only downside here is of course the passive heal block on this path. So I'm not running any suicides. Typically with Magic, I do like to run at least half suicides with bleeds, just because when you're throwing those specials, you're healing all of that back with Limbo. All of the recoil damage and stuff like that, and it just helps the SP2 do bigger damage. But you guys can see, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward fight here. The Super Scroll fight is also a pretty straightforward fight, but I am going to make a mistake, and you guys will see that I get myself into some trouble here. But yeah, I mean, it's the same strategy here. Really, the only complicating factor here is, 25 seconds after the start of the fight, he does inflict a falter debuff. You just have to, the only way to cancel that, it's an indefinite falter. The only way to cancel that is to hit into his block, or to, hit into him and get punched and miss, but we don't want to do that. So you can see the passive falter icon with the timer underneath his health bar to the far right. But yeah, same deal here. We just want to recycle those SP2s to reset the weaknesses. He's naturally just going to get a ton of buffs. Kind of just have to ignore that. So here I kind of get stuck in that spot where if I threw that SP2, he was, I was going to get faltered a little bit. And then got caught on the backdraft or dashing back, and then had to wait out to hit into his block. But we're all good here. It's fine. It's just unfortunate to lose so much health with kind of an awkward little mistake there. But yeah, I mean, very easy fight. And then also there was a point in this fight, I don't know if you guys caught it, but I didn't actually get my power lock on my SP2, which again, there are 2 hits of the SP2, and each hit has an 85% chance to power lock. So the odds of both of them not power locking are very, very low. All right, and then here I've got Apocalypse. This is the only fight I used Apocalypse for, and yeah, obviously you guys, I ranked my Apocalypse to rank 4, and I mean, my plan this season going in was and remains to try to use him as much as possible, just because he's so tanky at rank 4. He's really a strong attacker. On his own, but especially with the attacker tactic power down, he's just incredibly strong. And I realized after I didn't even utilize his power down in this matchup, which I totally should have. It's a power gain node. It's got kinetic transference, and you guys will see that I go into this fight and I just end up every strategy kind of falls away. And it's like I'm dueling a Strife with really massive power gain. And there are 2 main issues with that. Number one, yeah, you guys will kind of see, but I waste a special too. The node does have indestructible once the attacker hits 2 bars of power. I totally spaced that. I waste an SP2, which is where Apocalypse gets a lot of his damage. And then yeah, I mean, I just elongate this fight unnecessarily. I should be alternating my combo enders to apply wither debuffs, which is the attacker tactic. I don't do that. That would be absolutely perfect for this node. And so yeah, I don't know. I just totally screwed this fight, but healing up Magic, because I'm going to be taking this mcoc boss or mini boss after this fight. But yeah, this is pretty decent placement for Strife. He's not a high ground defender, but he does counter Quake, which is why he's placed here. And Apocalypse is totally fine for this fight. Archangel would also be really, really strong for this fight. But yeah. So Feat of Indestructible 2. Anyway, this fight is just going to be a lot slower than it needs to be. Again, I should be alternating my combos, because each combo alternator that you end with applies a wither debuff that reduces a defender power gain because of the power down tactic. So here I'm just waiting out his little cloak. And the strategy, as always for me, is going to be to get to the SP2 with Apocalypse as quickly as possible. I am not mutant boosted here. I don't think. Because I was already boosted for magic for those 2 Section 2 fights with magic. There I go, throwing my SP2 into the indestructible like a complete idiot. And this is kind of par for the course with me in first wars of the season. For whatever reason, I always talk about preparation to our battle group and be prepared, read the notes, do duels, just think of everything so that you're prepared and you don't make mistakes. And then, I gotta. It's embarrassing, man, but I go into this fight and I'm just not as focused as I need to be. So, all right, he's got an SP2 here. I just want to evade this. If I don't fully, it's not a big deal, but I am able to. I am gonna throw my SP1 here, get that burst damage, and I think that this kills him. Yeah. So Apocalypse is just such a beast. And again, you come out of that fight with whatever, 85% of your health, 90% of your health, and yeah, it's totally fine. But in the fight, you see the fight, and you're like, yeah, this was I gotta pay better attention. But all right, so this fight, I hate this fight. This placement is just really dangerous. It's really annoying. And, Torch, we've taken this fight with Torch in the past. We've taken this fight with Spider-Man 99 in the past. Both of those champs are banned this war, but I also don't think that there's a lot that can go wrong in both of those fights. As we've seen, as an alliance, we've died to this fight with those attackers before when mcoc the AI just decides to throw SP2s and... So here, I go into this fight and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have Limbo with my Power Start 1 boost, no big deal. I'll just take a combo to help my power gain. And of course, I've got a 50% chance, and I don't get Limbo. Instead of verifying at the beginning of the fight, blocking his first attack, and then letting up if I had Limbo, I'm just like, YOLO, I'll have Limbo. I don't have Limbo, so I basically start this fight with 50% of my health. Not ideal. And then he did a full 5-hit combo into me, which gave him an extra hatred. So he's up to 5 hatred. Now, the hatred don't really become an issue unless he gets to 10, and then he goes berserk. But each hatred does add energy resistance, which is going to reduce the damage that I'm doing with my SP2. Now, it's still pretty good damage for a 5-star. You guys can see when I'm critting, it's almost 20k. But it definitely slows this fight down, and I think I have 2 out of 3 recoil in this fight as well. So it gets scary when I'm looping together SP2s and I'm in limbo and I'm just losing all that health. Taking some block damage as well that is more than I'm comfortable with, and again, that's just because I've got a 5-star here up against a rank 3. On a mini-boss node, but I mean, ultimately this fight is very safe. With magic, I'm doing 4-hit combos because every 5-hit combo from either the attacker or defender is going to give him an extra hatred. We just want to avoid that. I'm all the way down to 13%. I mean, Limbo's helping me get back up to 25%, but it got scary, and ultimately I just made a really bad decision at the beginning of that fight. To assume that I would have Limbo. But anyway, that's it for my war, guys. We lost this war. You guys can see the score on other people's channels. But leave a like and a comment. Hope you enjoyed. I'll be posting war videos for every war this season. So subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you in the next one.